Welcome to the Bold Life Movement podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Rich, and each week I bring you inspiring stories from real people to help you live a more passionate and intentional life. You'll learn how to up-level in everything from relationships, entrepreneurship and leadership, to spirituality, sexuality, and yes, even money. If you're interested in raising your game to be a better business owner, a better lover, and a happier, more fulfilled human, then you're in the right place. No more living on autopilot. You are just an episode away from a bolder, better, more fulfilling life. Welcome back to the Bold Life Movement podcast. I am so excited to be kicking off season 3 with today's guest, Luis Angel. Luis, I'm so excited to have you on today. I feel like you have such a unique skill set that my audience would find really interesting. So thanks so much for coming on.
I love it. Thank you so much for asking me to be on. It's an absolute privilege to be on the Bold Life Movement podcast. Woo! Yeah. Can't wait.
So what people call you, and what I believe you self-identify as, is a memory master. Can you give us a little bit of information about what that means?
Yeah, definitely. They think I'm a magician sometimes. Like, what's this guy doing?
I've seen it.
Waving, right?
I've seen it firsthand. It's pretty magical.
And it's mainly like, what I do is I just memorize a lot of crazy random things very quickly. And it's a skill set that I picked up over the years, and is definitely not something that I was quote unquote born with, as in the fact that I was doing this from the day that I came out of the womb. But I just memorize a lot of things very quickly.
Okay. So you said that you picked it up. It's not something you were born with. When did you get into it? Like, what was the catalyst for that?
Wow. So growing up in high school, I actually struggled a lot. I did not do that great to the point where I remember this. The only teacher's name that I actually remember from high school, because my memory would just suck, was Miss Solano. She was my 12th grade English teacher. She said, "Luis, I like you. You have a great spirit. You're not doing great. So how about we bump up your F to a D- just so you can graduate?" I was like, "That sounds great to me, Miss Solano. Let's do that." Because previously I was getting D's and F's all throughout high school, repeating classes, summer school over and over, just to be able to get out of high school. And once I finally did, got to college. And Kim, you know this, that when you go into a new situation with the same blueprint, same exact, habits that you had in the past, expecting a different result, you're not going to get that. You're going to get the same exact thing. So that's what happened with me. I was like, fresh start. I'm going to do all my work. I'm going to focus. I'm going to ask all the right questions. And then life got in the way. And then just my ability to focus was just not there. And I suffered. So they kicked me out of college. So that was kind of my catalyst, and a lot of other just life events that led me to this path of wanting to not necessarily have a temporary fix to this, such as taking the pills, the Adderall, the Ritalin that they were giving me. When I saw like psychologists, psychiatrists, when I told them, look, I can't focus, I can't pay attention, my memory's not that great. And I said, what about meditation? What about all these other alternative ways of fixing my ability to focus? They're like, no, just take these pills. And I know that there are people out there that do need them and require that, but for me personally, I was never a fan of them. So I saw a memory expert, and once I did that, everything changed. I went from having these bad grades to getting straight A's. I went from not doing so great at work to getting a promotion, and then now competing all over the world in these competitions. So it's a little brief history as to how I...
So whose idea was it to see a memory expert? Because that's a pretty big jump from like, I'm struggling in school to A, I know a memory expert even exists, that it's even a thing, and B, that I'm going to go see one. So whose idea was that? So
we've been in the personal development industry for a while. I got into it at the age of 18. And my friends and I, we used to always go to these seminars and events. Yeah. And there was one that I just couldn't go to because I was working at that time. So they went to this seminar. It was a Jim Rohn Success Symposium seminar. They had all the big guys, Les Brown, Jim Rohn, and a guy named Ron White, who was a memory master. And the one that all my friends came back to me and bragged to me, they said, "You missed this, you should have been there. There was this memory guy, he taught us how to memorize. He memorized everybody's names." So I was like, oh, okay, cool, awesome. But it wasn't until a few years later when I was struggling that I hit up one of my friends. I'm like, "Dion, remember that seminar that you guys were all like, building up and talking about? What was that guy's name?" He's like, "Oh yeah, his name is Ron White. Check this out." He sent me the link. I got it immediately. It takes a month. It was called Memory in a Month. A month to go through his program, I did it in a few days because I was just so hungry and driven to want to change my situation that I wanted to do it now, at that time.
Awesome.
That was a catalyst.
So you bought his course, and that tells me that this is something anyone can pick up, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what is the process? Like, help me understand how he teaches you, and now I believe how you teach other people to become a memory master.
All right, so the way that it works is you have to have a really strong desire to just let your creativity just flow, honestly, above anything else. Because a lot of people, I think it just goes back to the ancient days of before we even invented writing, right? The tools to be able to write. It was all information was passed down through storytelling.
Yeah.
Right? It's from me, you and I, Kim, just telling stories about our ancestors and so on and so forth, that I feel that our brain is just geared towards that. It's through visualizing and storytelling. So whenever I'm memorizing, whether it's a 1,000-digit number or a name and a phase, I'm creating a real crazy and vivid story in my mind to help me link that together, to create a metaphor. Tony Robbins always talks about, if you want to learn anything very quickly, you take the unknown, the thing that you want to learn with something that you already know, and you link that together, and then you create, a story in your brain to help you link that faster. So that's how I learned, through storytelling. And we can go through some examples later on if you want, but essentially it's storytelling about the information that I'm trying to learn.
Awesome. So I mentioned earlier that I've actually seen you do this in person. Can you tell the people listening what it was that you did and kind of walk us through how you apply this process to that exercise?
Right. So we did a numbers demonstration. So Omid, you and Omid wrote down a quick 40-digit number.
Yeah, I think he pulled one off the internet, like a random 40-digit string he just got somewhere.
Yeah, and then you double check to make sure everything was all right. All 40 digits were in there in place. And then I looked at it really quickly. I know at that point, I remember it was like we're at a restaurant. It was really noisy.
Yeah.
Normally I can do that in 30 seconds to a minute. It took me a little over a minute, I believe, to have it down packed in my brain. And all that I did for that number was I just created stories. So every 2-digit number I have an image for. And then what I do is I link that into a memory palace that I have in my brain, which is I'm just walking through my mom's living room or my bathroom or something like that. And then I'm interlinking these images that I see. So for example, 24, that's a pomegranate. So 2452, so 2452. I'll picture myself having a huge pomegranate, and I'm stuffing it inside a lion's mouth as he bites down on this pomegranate, and all the juice flows down the side of the lion's face, and I'm just petting the lion maybe. And I'll see that on my
52 is the lion?
The lion.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And pomegranate is 24. So 2452. So I'll link that together. So now I know that those 4 numbers are in one location. And then I'll keep doing that through the entire cycle of the number until I have all 40 digits down in my brain with that story. And then at that point, what was the first thing that I asked when I came back to the table, if you remember?
Oh, yeah. You said, do you want me to do it forwards or backwards? And we were all like, what? It was so crazy.
Because all that I'm doing is once I have it in my brain in the story form, I literally can just go to that last place in my brain, say it was a couch, or let's say it's a couch. Yeah. I go back from the couch all the way over to the window, backwards, seeing those stories in reverse, and I'm just flipping the numbers in my brain. So that's how I can do it, forwards, numbers by number, and that's how a remaster does it.
Help me understand how doing it backwards would work. Because if you were to tell me an anecdote, like a short story, I would struggle to tell you that story backwards. All the details, because my brain just doesn't work that way. So does having the visualization of those story parts in your palace, the proverbial palace, is that what makes you able to do it backwards?
Yeah, because they act as anchor points or as checkpoints.
Yeah,
so I can
the
go.
couch.
I know exactly where my 20th location is. I know where my 10th location is. So I can jump right into that, and then from that point start the story backwards. So let's say in this case, those first 4 numbers were 2452. So I saw pomegranate, lion. All that I would do is just flip it. So I'll see lion first and then pomegranate. So it'll be 2542. So I'll just flip it in my brain. Instead of saying it forward, I'll just flip the story.
And this is why you're a master. Because even though I understand the process, that still sounds really hard.
Yeah.
All right,
It took
so
a while to build up to this, definitely. I wasn't like right away memorizing a 40-digit number. That would have taken me like 10, 20 minutes at first. But with practice, it becomes a second language, so you can pick it up pretty quick.
yeah, it's a muscle that you've built. How long
Exactly.
have you been doing this?
Oh man, 2012 was when I got into it like heavily. So 5, going on 6 years.
Okay. And how can this technique be applied to like everyday life? How do you use it on a regular basis?
So every day, aside from say learning information at school or whatnot, just something that I think everybody can use this on right now is names and faces. I actually wrote a whole book on that, how to remember names and faces, because I feel that's actually the number one thing that people always ask me. Like, I meet so many people, right? You go to networking events all the time, Kim.
Yeah.
I'm sure that people listening to this right now or watching this, they go to events and, personal development events or networking events or at their work, at their business. They're always meeting people. So isn't it more powerful when you meet somebody and a week later you're able to recall their name instead of just calling, oh, hey, nice seeing you again, without mentioning their name? If you're saying, Bob, how are your kids doing? How's everything going? You're probably more likely to build a stronger relationship with them and even pick up some business if you remember their name. So for that, I picture something for every person that I meet, and I associate that to their face. Do you have, if you can, just like throw out any name, and then we can play with that.
Okay.
That name.
Jessica Sherwin.
Jessica. So I picture Jessica Rabbit as soon as I think of Jessica, right? So like that beautiful, gorgeous, red-headed girl. So Jessica Sherwin, you said?
Sherwin.
Sherwin. So there's the ice cream, sherbet ice cream, and there's maybe wind coming out of it. So maybe Jessica Rabbit is eating ice cream, and then her hair is just blowing because there's a lot of wind passing through it, and then the ice cream is melting on her. So I would do that in milliseconds when I meet the person.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that everybody has to do that, but even if you practice with first names, right? Jessica, every Jessica Rabbit, or maybe picture like a treasure chest for Jessica chest. Kim, I'll picture like Kim Kardashian for Kim. Kim Kardashian.
So
it was very vivid. Yeah.
my question is, how does picturing like Jessica Rabbit or Kim Kardashian help you remember the name versus just picturing that person's face? Or are you tying the face with that other image?
So Jessica Rabbit, I'll try to choose a distinct feature about the individual. I won't tell them what it is. Sometimes it could be like, big nose or big ears or something like that. So I'll just say I picture this for your name, but I won't say exactly how I did it.
Yeah.
But like, let's say it was like nice eyebrows, right? So I'll picture Jessica Rabbit like walking on her eyebrows, if she had like really nice eyebrows, or like some glasses that I know she's probably always gonna wear. I'll picture Jessica Rabbit doing something on the glasses. The next time I see her, I'll trying to lock into that distinct feature that I chose of that individual. And then okay, what did I picture on that? Eyebrows. Oh yeah, Jessica Rabbit, she was eating sherbet, wind, and the wind was blowing. So that's how I would do it.
And for people listening who are thinking, that's a lot to remember. It's like with anything, you do it so consistently that you recall it more easily.
Exactly. Every Jessica is always Jessica Rabbit, so it becomes easier. It becomes like I said earlier, another language to the point where you don't even have to necessarily think about it. It just happens.
Yeah.
At first, yes, when you're building your library of images and stories, it's going to require some conscious mind activity for you to actually focus on that, pay attention. But after a while, it becomes like second nature, and you're able to do it without thinking about it.
I love that you compare it to learning another language, because I think that for anyone who's listening who knows multiple languages, especially if you learned them over the course of your life, you can remember a time when a sentence was something you had to listen and decide what each word meant, and then down the line, someone might say the exact same sentence to you, and you knew what they were saying, but didn't even realize what language they said it to you in, because you just knew those words. So you don't even realize how you're cognitively recalling those names. It's just innate
it's
at
there.
that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So how did you use this for helping with schoolwork? How does the same process apply to that?
Yeah. So my thing was, I remember going kind of even before trying out these memory techniques, when my doctors, like me personally growing up, I never took drugs. I never drank. I had a lot of negative anchors to that. And, I think that did do something towards me not being able to focus, and the fact that, just seeing a lot of turmoil growing up. And I know I'm not the only person in the world that has gone through that, but, seeing family members in and out of jail and, hanging around the environment that I was in, not by choice, but because we just financially weren't able to find another place. So we were always surrounded by gangs and, just people that weren't doing that great in life. But just seeing that, and I think that kind of affected me. But as far as like the drug aspect of it, I saw what it did to people. So for me, I always felt like if I did that, I would probably do the exact same thing that they're doing, be in jail or whatnot. So when I finally sought doctors, like medical advice to help me with being able to focus and remember, they said, oh, take these pills. So I was very reluctant to take them, again, because of the negative anchors. But I finally did it because I was like, this is a solution. I have to do it. If not, I'm going to continue to suffer. So I took them. And I remember the first day I took the Adderall and my brain was so wired in on every single little speck of dust that I could find in my room. I cleaned my entire room, lifted up the mattress, put it out to the living room. I cleaned every speck, organized every single inch and square inch of that room. I came out to the living room. I was cleaning everything. My mom came back and she was like, I've never seen this place as clean as it is. What did he do? I'm like, I don't know. I'm in the zone.
Took some Adderall.
I remember watching TV that same day, and I was just like absorbing everything that was being fed to me. Going to the class the next day, and everything was a blur besides the teacher. I was asking all the right questions, but at the same time, I just didn't feel right. I felt like my heart was racing out of my chest. But I remember that feeling, right? So as transitioning into how I got out of that into the memory and how I apply that is, I remember that feeling because once I stopped taking the pills, which was almost immediately, once I get that feeling that I was having when I was on these drugs, I know that that's when I've made it in this memory world. So when I went back to school, after learning the memory techniques, I was able to apply the visualization of listening to a teacher talk to me and visualize and picture what they were saying. And I had the exact same emotion and feeling that I had when I was taking the Adderall and the Ritalin. I was like, this is it. I've hit the gold mine here. I just naturally fix this problem. So I apply that whenever I'm even listening to Tony Robbins or I'm at a Tony Robbins event.
Yeah.
I just visualize what it is that he's saying up on stage. I do my best to picture it, and then I'm able to write down so many notes and go back and review later. So it was that moment of having that feeling beforehand and then applying it to the memory techniques once I went back to school.
So it sounds like it was really beneficial for you to have taken the pills because it almost, even though long term, no, but it almost gave you something to search for as you're like applying the memory technique.
Exactly.
Yeah, you had something to compare it to, I guess is a better way to say that. Mm-hmm. Very cool. So what would you say is the hardest thing you've ever had to memorize or tried to memorize?
Oh, honestly, like in competitions, they give us thousands of digits of numbers to memorize, hundreds of faces, like all these things. That is pretty easy now just because I know you're looking at me like, what are you talking about? 1,000-digit numbers?
Sounds really hard.
Yeah. But because I've done it so much now that it's like second nature, right?
Yeah.
The hardest thing was on the show. It wasn't because I had to memorize the most amount of information. It was like 500 pieces. It was first name, last name, initial, hometown, and the face of over 100 people that were in the audience of the Superhuman show I was on.
I was going to say, will you clarify what show so people know?
Yeah. So it was the Superhuman show on Fox, but it was because of all the pressure that was there, right? The people that were in attendance, my mom, I didn't want to let my mom down. All these little distractions, the cameras, the lights, all these people that were there. And I just wanted to do well. That was I didn't care about winning. I didn't care about the results. I just cared about doing well. So that added pressure was what affected me kind of going into this. But yeah, I did decently well on that show.
Yeah, you may have won the entire show and won some money with it. I wanted to know what you did with the funds.
Just a few dollars.
Just a few thousand, multiple thousands.
I threw all my money into Bitcoin,
No, really, I genuinely want to know. Did you invest it? Did you give it to your family? Did you treat yourself?
Honestly, that year, listen, I've never, again, I grew up in the worst, Section 8, right? Worst food stamps, government subsidized housing, all that stuff. So when you get a check like that, it definitely makes you feel a certain way. I
Yeah,
went
for
into the
sure.
bank with my hoodie, still the same old me, and they come in. I just, like, I have this check I want to deposit. And they look at me like, okay, cool. And then they look at the number, they're just like, uh, can we get some security over here to make sure that this is legit? But honestly, when it hits your bank account and you get that, it makes you feel a different way. But the first thought obviously was to help out family, help out my mom. She's been struggling, so helped her out, paid a lot of bills off, and then yeah, I treated myself a little bit, went on a little traveling spree.
Yeah, where
So
did you go?
uh, uh China, Taiwan, Australia, Sweden. I went all over the place.
I love
Spain.
it.
I love Spain. Spain is amazing.
Yes, Spain is
But yeah,
beautiful.
been did a little spurging with my travels.
As you do, as you should.
Mhm.
I love it. And how are you now using what you've learned to help other people change their lives with the same technique? What does that look like
Yeah.
for you?
So that's been my biggest passion. Obviously, this helped me out, helped out my life, transformed everything that I was doing. I never thought, they always ask that question when you're growing up, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I would give the doctor, I want to be an engineer, I want to be an architect. Never in a million years would I have said I want to, or seen myself being a
Yeah.
memory coach, like teaching people how to memorize. Like my memory sucked when I was
Yeah.
growing up. How can I do this for a living now? But that's my biggest passion, is just sharing my knowledge with others. So one of the things that I did was I went to a local high school, same type of background as far as like how they grow up, subsidized housing,
Yeah.
food stamps and whatnot. But I went to these kids and they're in LA, Los Angeles. It's not such a great area. So I went there beginning of the year. I said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to practice to go to New York to compete in the national memory competition. They're like, okay, cool. But they didn't really believe me. This kid comes into your school and tells you that he's going to take you across the country. What?
Yeah.
uh,
And they may have never even been out of the state.
out of the county, LA County,
Yeah.
probably down to San Diego, if that. But yeah, out of the state, definitely not in their horizon anytime soon. So we trained for a few months, and then we went up against school. We flew out to New York, went up against schools that had been doing this for years. And first time ever, these kids from the ghetto, the hood, little Mexican kids, we go over to New York to compete against these schools that have been doing it for a long time. And the biggest blessing for me came when they walked the stage to receive their gold medal, because they had just beaten out all these other schools
Wow.
in the numbers event. I was like, this is why I'm doing this. I didn't get paid to do that. They would always want to like give me some money. I was like, no, I'm doing this because I want to do this. I want to give
Yeah.
back. I want to just help out, and I want to see their lives transform. And to this day, they've all gone on to like really good, universities. They're about to. Some of them are about to graduate. A few went to like MIT. Some are UC Irvine, UC Santa Barbara, and a
Wow.
few others. And I still keep in contact with them. But just seeing their life transform, and I don't think it was because of me that happened, but just for me to be even just a little catalyst, I guess, a little millimeter push to one side, probably helped them out a
My
little bit.
listeners don't know, but Luis is one of the most humble people that I've ever met. So, yeah, I would say you definitely had an impact. That sounds amazing. And you
Yeah.
also have a book that people can buy. Where can they get access to that if they're really loving what they're hearing here?
Yeah, so on Amazon, I have a book called Better Memory Now. So I was doing a bunch of different tests on what to name this book, and Better Memory Now, I put it out there. It had the most clicks. So I'm like, I'm calling it this
Sticking
name.
with it.
All right. So Better Memory Now is the name of my book. I have a few other ones, How to Remember Names and Faces, and that one literally just has like hundreds of names and faces for you to practice with,
Oh,
because
wow.
that's what it's going to take.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about earlier. It's not just using the technique once. It's not about using a word in a new language once. It's about using it over and over again until it becomes unconscious and you can do it without thinking about it.
Yeah, immersion.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
in the book I teach you exactly how to remember numbers. I have my entire list of pictures for numbers, how to remember names and faces, how to remember directions, something as simple as a grocery list.
Yeah.
So all kinds of different tips from everyday life situations to how you can use this to help you focus and meditate. I have a great visualization and meditation exercise on there. So yeah, cool book with some cool tips here and there.
I love that. No, I want a copy. We've never even chatted about this before. I'm like, that all sounds so useful.
Mhm.
I love it. And so, is there anything else in your life that you want to develop mastery in? I know you have a couple other hobbies and interests.
Mastery in. Well, look, my biggest passion is space and science. I don't know if you can tell from our weekend retreat last week, but we watched like Interstellar and like a group of us in Canada.
Yeah,
It was
Luis and I
amazing.
went on an epic adventure for New Year's. It was really incredible.
Yeah, she's an awesome snowboarder too. So if you guys are
All
ever around her, she'll
right,
school
set the bar here, Luis. Back to your mastery, not
you.
mine.
Kim is amazing, folks. So dang, what do I want? Oh yeah, so I want to honestly. This is gonna sound far fetched, but I want to go to space. So
Not far-fetched.
my next goal is to study as much as I possibly can about how to really get myself to that level to be able to even apply to, like, say, SpaceX or to one of these, or even NASA, to possibly be an astronaut, or maybe not like a full-fledged astronaut, but somehow make my way up to space. And do that. Yeah, my biggest goal in life is to invent something that's never been invented before. I don't know what it is. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know what team, but that's been my biggest goal in life. And yeah, I don't know how it's going to happen, but
I think
hopefully
that's so cool.
yeah.
You're hearing it first here, folks.
So Kim got the exclusive, son.
I mean, truly, like, you putting these things out there could be someone listening here who has a connection to SpaceX or some other project that leads you down that path. So asserting it, putting it out there, I'm all for it.
Yeah, speak it into existence.
Exactly. So who are people that you look up to? Who are some mentors? My one guess is Mr. Musk, but I want to hear from your lips.
Musk. Nah, that was so yesterday.
Elon,
No,
so 2017.
Elon. Yeah. No, it definitely, Elon Musk is a must. He's Mr. Iron Man, so I want to sit down with him. He's in my brain's boardroom, so I have this, like,
Yeah.
these people call me crazy, but I have these people that I talk to in my brain.
Did you get that from Think and Grow Rich?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? So who else is in your boardroom?
So Tony Robbins, this lady named Kim Rich is in there, and I get a lot of dropping them celebrity names. So Tony Robbins, Oprah's in there. There's a lady, I don't know if you know her, Nirka.
No.
Nirka. So she used to work as an FSR, shut up, for Tony Robbins. So he definitely, just even people that I talk to right now. So Omid, a good friend of ours, Juan, just so many people. My mom is in there. My mom's in there usually to, like, correct me if I'm, like, doing something wrong when I'm talking to these people. I'm like, I want to go to space, and she's like, oh, absolutely not. You're not going to space. So yeah, and then even, like, yeah,
Okay.
Albert Einstein's in there. Just, from people that are around now, even people that have passed. So yeah, people that I look up to.
I love it. That's so fun. And I feel like when they listen to this episode, they're going to have a nice little ego stroke knowing that they're in your mental boardroom. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So there are a couple questions that I ask at the end of every episode. But before I get to those, I do want to let people know where they can go follow you, get your book, get more information about Luis Angel, the Memory Master.
Yo. My everything is AE Mind, like the brain, mind. So AEMIND.com, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. I think I still have a Snapchat somewhere.
All the things.
AE Mind or AE.mind for some of them. But yeah, that's my everything. I used to have my personal brand, but I was like, I don't care about that. Let me just build AE Mind.
Interesting. Yeah. So what made you let the personal brand go?
I was never a fan of building my name. I don't know. I just
very Luis Angel of you.
Yeah. So if it wasn't for, like, my business and me wanting to help out others, I probably would be living like in a forest somewhere, isolated from everything and everyone. But no, I want to do good. I want to contribute. That's why I'm building the brand AE Mind, because I know that's gonna live past me. That was my vision even before I started this. Like, there's people that want to build their name, like Tony Robbins, Ron White, which is my mentor, which is awesome, amazing, Jim Rohns. For me, I felt like I wanted it to be more than myself. That makes sense?
Yeah, totally.
So I built AE Mind, Accelerated Empowered Mind, so that it can grow past me, so that I don't have to be there in order for this to continue to help out people long after I'm gone.
I get it. That's why I have Bold Life Movement separate as well.
Right. From Kim.
Yeah, which can feel like a lot to manage, but I do see the value in that because you can let it live on past you, which is great.
Exactly.
All right, Luis. The last two questions I ask at the end of every episode. Number one, what is your why? What drives
Oof.
you for all of the, I know you do so many different things, have a lot of interests, a lot of passions. What is your underlying why?
Wow. That was strong. I mean, the go-to is obviously help out mom, help out family, but above that, it's just contributing. We did this exercise in Canada for New Year's where we're writing down our goals for the year, relationship, business, and everything else, health. So for business, it just, I don't know, it just hit me, and I was in this moment of flow where I was writing down a lot of things, and one of them was to help out billions with a B, billions of people to positively impact their lives to ultimately lift society to a whole nother level that's never been lifted before. That was like, it just hit me. And I got this from Jason Silva because Jason Silva, he has a show called Shots of Fall. I listen to him all the time. Whenever I shave my head, that's like on repeat for me, Jason Silva, nonconformity and the creative life. But he always says that the term billionaire, it has a new meaning now. It's not about having $1 billion in the bank. It's about impacting the lives of over 1 billion people. We have 7+ billion people on Earth now. So impacting the lives of billions of people, it's what's going to make us as individuals billionaires. And it's not just necessarily you helping one person. It's about you helping out that one individual that's going to spread and spider out into so many other individuals that's going to affect their lives. So that's my biggest why, is that to do something to positively leave an impact, a dent to the universe, as Steve Jobs says, even if it's a slight dent before I'm gone.
I love that. And I really appreciate how you're emphasizing the ripple effect, because I think that a lot of people can get hung up on, oh, I'm not able to actually reach billions of people. My YouTube subscriptions aren't that high. My Instagram followers aren't that high. What have you. But if you can reach 1,000 true fans who then can spread your message, I mean, it's just incredible what the ripple effect can accomplish. So
Definitely.
yeah, I can easily see you doing that.
Thank you.
Easily. And lastly, this is the Bold Life Movement. I want to know what your definition of being bold or leading a bold life is.
Wow. Bold Life Movement.
What does it mean to be bold?
Yeah. So doing what you know is at the edge of whatever's possible for you, and definitely surpassing that and going above and beyond that. That's what drives me, at least. It's thinking that I have this level of ability within me, and somehow, some way reaching this and even beyond that, so you can't even see the screen anymore. I have this screen. So and then looking back down and saying, wait, did I really think that this was possible? Holy moly, look where I'm at now. So living the bold life movement, that's what it means. It's just going above and beyond whatever limits that you might place on yourself.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I set so many of those before, and because I set those, I never even got close to even hitting those limits. But now knowing that whatever I said, there's something even above that it's unimaginable yet. Becoming a memory coach, unimaginable a few years ago. And now it's a reality. Traveling the world, meeting people like him and so many other individuals that I've had the chance and privilege to meet. I'm like, that wasn't even in my radar growing up around gang members and all these people that were, alcoholics and whatnot. That was my future. But now knowing that it's not, we have something else within us that it's more possible. That's a bold life moment for me.
Ooh, I feel like that's such a good note to end on. And I have one more question. What was the transition for you that took what was your quote unquote future, your destiny, based on your upbringing, and radically changed your trajectory so that now you have so much freedom, potential, such an open mind and abundant outlook? What was that transition?
It was surrounding myself with the individuals that already had what I didn't even think was possible to have. Met a friend of mine, Phoebe Lou, really close friend. Omid sometimes gets tired, good friend of ours, Omid, gets tired of hearing me speak about my friend Phoebe just because he's had such a huge impact. 10 years ago, he came into my life at 18 when I was selling shoes and suits at Macy's. And he's like, hey, you're really good at selling. How about you come and work for me? I was like, okay. So I quit my job and I went to work. That was a bold move because he came in with like a nice fitted suit and some nice shoes, really expensive shoes that he bought for me. And I was like, I wish I had that kind of money. So And then from there, he's the one that gave me my ticket to go to my first UPW, and he was the one that just introduced me to this world of personal development. So, and from there, it just spidered off. That one individual that helped me out is now spidering off and rippling off into hopefully others that I'm impacting. But yeah, so hanging around with individuals that are maybe at the level you want to be at, or even way beyond that, whether it's in person or even listening to this on podcasts, or listening to them on podcasts, or watching videos and saying, okay, one day I'll be sitting next to them, breaking bread with them. That was my biggest trigger, because from that point at 18 moving forward, obviously ups and downs along the way, but for the most part, it's been a up and up.
Yep. Yeah. Awesome, Luis. Well, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you. You know that I love you, and I can't wait for people to check out your book and just see all the amazing things you're going to be up to.
Love you, Kim. Everybody subscribe, like, and share to everything that Kim has going on, because she's so amazing.
And you're hired as my PR agent.
Yes, definitely. She has some great stuff coming out, so make sure to follow her.
All right, thanks, Luis.
Bye-bye.
Big thanks to Luis for coming on today's show. Again, if you want to get access to the show notes, head to theboldlifemovement.com/067. And I mentioned this in an earlier episode, but I'm really stoked because season 3, we are mixing things up a bit. I will be releasing solo episodes every Monday, and you can also still look forward to the interviews every Wednesday. And for a period of time, we're kicking off with 4 episodes. Maybe we'll extend, we'll see. But I'm going to be doing a co-hosted episode with my friend, Katie Buman from the Real Rebel podcast. So definitely look out for that. If you liked today's episode, please go follow me on Instagram at The Bold Life Movement and drop me a comment. Let me know what some of your takeaways were. I love hearing from you guys. Thanks so much, and I will catch you next episode.